Assalamualaikum class, hope you're all fine and safe and taking all the precautionary measures that are required for the COVID-19. Now, coming in the previous lectures, we talked about the different personality theories. That one of the major personality theory we covered in the previous lecture was the psychodynamic approach, in which we talked about that these are the they are the certain unconscious desires that actually controls someone's personality. According to the Freud and the Jung, we have certain unconscious desires, or you can say the repressed desires that control our personality. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss or explore more about the personality of an individual. In today's lecture, we will cover the trait theories. So after this lecture, you will be able to describe the trait theory of the personality, and what is the and one of the major trait theory of the personality, that is the golden Alport theory. So coming toward the today's lecture, we will start from the trade theory, and then we discussed about the golden Albert theory. Now, what is actually the trait theories of personality? You can say that trait theories believe that the personality can be understood by positioning that all the people have the certain traits, or you can say characteristics, or the specified way of behaving. For example, you might be tend to be social or shy, you might be passive or aggressive, you are might be optimist or the pessimist. So according to the personality theories, or you can say the theories trait theorist, your personality are the prominent aspect, your traits are the a prominent aspect of your personality that you exhibit in a wide range of important social and the personal context. So in other words, you can say that individuals have the certain characteristics that partly determine their behavior. These traits are trends in the behavior, or you can say the attitude that tends to present regardless of any situation. So when we talked about the trait theory, our theory is actually made up of the different traits. What are the traits? These traits are the consistent characteristics that we exhibit in these certain situations. These are, you can say, our behavior tendencies. These are, you can say, our behavior trends that exist in a one person, and these are the relatively permanent. Why? Because when we talked about the trait, these are the part of your personality. You might be shy, you might be social, you might be very expressive, you might be very emotional. So these emotional, being an emotional, being a pessimist, being an aggressive, being a social, being a shy, or being a quiet, these are all the terms we called as a personality traits. So in the previous theory, we were talked about the unconscious desires that we are not aware of it, but the trait theory actually proposed that we have the certain traits, we have the certain characteristics, and these characteristics actually help us to guide our own behavior. So if we talked about the trait theory, or this approach actually focus on the public personality, or you can say the personality discrimination and the prediction of behavior based on these personality development. The most important, if I say the most important personality theory is actually of the gold Alpert theory. The gold Alpert was actually the pioneer psychologist, often referred to as one of the founder of personality psychology. He rejected actually the psychodynamic thought of the psychology in favor of the trait theory. He stressed that the individual differences, and they are the different individual differences and the situational variables that actually play a very important role in determining the someone personality. So if we talked about the gold Albert theory, he actually viewed, you can say, he actually criticized on the fruit theory of, you can say, the fruit theory of psychodynamic perspective. According to him, the unconscious memory, the unconscious memories do play an important part in our childhood experiences, or in, you can say, in our personality, but it is just a one aspect of our personality. Our personality is more, you can say, it is more about the unconscious side, but in fact there are the certain conscious effects, there are the certain conscious elements that actually play an important part in determining our personality. So, and when we talked about the golden Albert theory, there are the three major, or you can say, there are the three major traits according to him that we possess. The first one is the cardinal trait. When we talked about the cardinal trait, according to him, these cardinal traits are the traits which determine the behavior in the wide range of the circumstances. These traits are the most powerful and you can say pervasive, and these they dominate the individual personality. These are the cardinal traits are the single trait dominant in sort of the personality. In terms of person, if I talk about the in terms of personality, the cardinal traits are the very dominating and the rare traits. These are usually developed in the later stage. So when we talked about the cardinal trait, they tends to define a person to extent that their names become synonymous with their personality. Let's take the example. When obviously we are talking about the different traits. Let's in a previous example I talked about, you might be pessimist, you might be positive, you might be aggressive, you might be very social, you might be very talkative. So these are your traits, but when your one trait ba- when your one trait dominates your complete personality, that dominating trait is actually your cardinal trait, or that is the cardiac. You can say the cardinal is what actually drive from the cardiac meaning heart. So when one trait actually become the heart of your personality, that trait will be called as the cardinal trait. Let's take the example of the Mother Teresa. The her trait of altruism, selflessness, actually complete encapsulate her own her complete personality. And now we now she is actually the synonymous with the altruism. Same is the case with the Hitler. If you talked about the Hitler, the Hitler is actually the need for power. The need for power was very high in the Hitler. So when we talked about the Hitler, the word we use is the power hunger. That only one trait, his one trait completely shaped up his personality. So the cardinal trait is a single dominant trait that completely encapsulates someone's personality. Then we talked about the central traits. These are the general traits from the basic personality foundations. When we, while you can say the cardinal trait is focus domination of the one trait, the central trait are the combination of the different traits. So you can say that the central traits are not as dominating as the cardinal trait. They describe the major characteristic you might use to describe another person. So when we talked about the central trait, these are the combination of the 6 to 12 central traits. For example, you might be friendly, you might be talkative, you might be lively, active, and the boring. And if you talked about the intelligence, honest, shy, anxious, these are all the considered as a central trait. That you might be friendly at a time, you might be talkative at a time, you might be lively at the same time. So these are the central traits. So when we talked about the cardinal trait, these are the trait, or cardinal trait is a one rare trait that completely encapsulates your personality. But in case of the central trait are actually the you can say the traits which actually are the combination of the different traits. They describe your personality. So these are the central traits. Central traits are usually apparent to the others, and the compromise characteristics that organize and the control behavior in many different situations. So that central traits are equal to the descriptive term, how your friends describe you, how your friend state you. So these central traits are actually the hallmark of your personality, and these are the combination of the different traits. Now coming toward the secondary trait, the secondary traits are sometimes related to the attitude or the preference. They are often appear, you can say, in a certain situation or under certain circumstances. So when we talking about the secondary traits, these are the more specific. I am repeating that these are the more specific traits, and these are the you can say specific to the certain situations, and you can't or you can say these traits don't usually you can say control your behavior, but sometimes they control your behavior. So these traits, why? Because these traits are openly appear into the certain situations. So for example, you can say your preferences toward music, that which music do you like, which food do you like, which entertainment you like, which parking which you can say which room decor you like. So these are the secondary traits. these are the secondary traits, and these traits do not actually represent your complete personality, but this is just a minimal part of your personality. So your preference toward food, your preference toward music, your liking, your disliking, these are the part of your personality, but these are not the things that completely explain your personality. Clear? So I'm repeating here, what is actually the trait theory. Trait theory means that there are the certain traits, there are the certain stable characteristics that cause you to behave in a certain way. These traits are the relatively permanent, that it is consistent, because these traits are the constant in your personality. If you are social, you will be social in each and every condition. If you are extrovert, you will be extrovert in each and every condition. If you are introvert, you will remain introvert. If you are pessimist, you will remain a pessimist in every situation. So these are the different traits that actually explain your personality. Then coming toward the golden Alpert trait theory. In the Alpert trait theory, there are the three major type of the traits. One is the cardinal trait, that the cardinal traits are the rare traits or the dominating trait, that your only one trait encapsulate your complete personality, dominate your complete personality, or you become synonymous to that particular trait. Then talked about then comes the central trait. Central traits are, you can say, the broad range of the traits, or these are the combination of the traits, and this is the main hallmark of your personality. These are the traits that you mostly exhibit. If there is no cardinal trait, then comes the central trait. Obviously, when there is a cardinal trait, that will automatically encapsulate your personality, but sometimes that is as we said, that it is very rare trait. So then, being an average person, the traits which encapsulate our personality are the central trait. This is the center of our personality. Then comes the secondary traits. These are the important traits, or these might be our preferences and attitude towards certain person, towards certain situation, or towards certain events. These are the part of our personality, but these are not the major contributor toward the personality. So these are the least important to understand someone's personality. If you like soft music, or if you like the upbeat music, or if you like the continental food, or if you like the desi food, it doesn't make a greater impact on your personality. So the secondary traits are the you can say the secondary traits are the traits that you exhibit in some sort of the personality, but it is not the complete you can say the complete representation of your personality. So if I wrap up the Alpert's personality theory, so Alpert actually pointed out that the some traits appear to the some extent as everyone labeled them as a common trait, or some traits are the unique to the individual, which we call individual trait. So the cardinal trait are the individual traits, and the central traits are the common traits that are present in each and every person, or the majority of the person. So you can't if we talked about the contribution of the Alpert's theory of personality. Obviously, the Alpert's influence upon the development of the modern trait theories and has been enormously, or you can say, have the problem is describing and reaching all the different traits available in the one person. So now coming toward the next theory, that is the Big Five personality trait. In the Big Five personality trait, we will talk about. We are going to talk about the theory that is called the Norman's theory, or you can say the ocean theory. Usually, in the genre term, we talked about the five big five theory, but it was also termed as a you can say it is also termed as the ocean theory. So, in 1963, Norman actually described how almost all the different traits identified by the personality theories could be combined into the, you can say, the simpler or the more usable model. So, afterward, many researchers are conducted on the Norman study, and they believe that the different traits, the different related traits can be combined into this certain set of a single trait. So, here comes the ocean model, or you can say the new model. First, it was the new model, then it was improved, or it was actually comprehended or extended in the ocean model, that is the openness, consciousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and the neuroticism. And this is what we call Big Five personality traits. Now coming toward the first trait, that is the openness. Openness is actually you are in the openness, you are very open to the experiences. In a sense, you are very adventurous, you are always ready to perform, you are always ready to have you, in short, you can say that your personality is very open. You are open to experience different things. So this includes so you can say that this trait actually includes the appreciation for art, emotions, adventure, unusual ideas, curiosity, and the variety of the experiences. So the openness actually reflect your degree of intellectual curiosity, your creativity, you can say your preference for the variety. So openness is all about that how much you are imaginative and how much you are focused on the routine activities. Then comes the conscientiousness is actually, you can say, show the degree to how much you are organized person, how much you are organized or how much you are disorganized. So this trait refers to your tendency toward self discipline, your competence, your thoughtfulness, your you can say your achievement striving, such as goal oriented behavior. In short, you can say conscientiousness is based on your zamir, how much responsible you are, how much irresponsible you are, how much disciplined you are, how much you are impulsive in action, that you don't even think about the situation and you just react. So consciousness is actually based on the zimmedari, and you can say zamir. Clear? So this trait actually focus on the deliberate. This focus actually focus. You can say that this is actually focused on the deliberate intention and thought a person put in your, or you can say put into his or her behavior. So the individual in high in the consciousness prefer planned decisions, prefer, they are more disciplined, they need each and everything to be very precise and to be very pre-planned. These are usually, we can say, these are the more organized person. They want to keep things in a very organized or in a very unstructured manner. So they are the people who are the less or the who are the low in the consciousness, maybe are having a very relaxed approach, they are maybe more spontaneous, they may be you can say sort of the disorganized person. So even the research shows that there is a positive relationship between being a consciousness and your academics. As if being a student, you are more conscious, you have the high consciousness, you will be more organized, you will be more careful, you will be more disciplined, and it will ultimately reflect in your academic success. Then comes to extroversion, that how much or outgoing, energetic, or you can say you are. Again, the individual who score high on extroversion is characterized by the high energy, positive emotion, they are very talkative, they are very social, they are very fun loving. In the opposite case, those who scored low on the extroversion, they might be we call it introversion, as we discussed in the Jung's theory of personality. So those who score low on the extroversion prefer the solitude. They are very quiet person. They love to play alone. They prefer the alone activities. They usually avoid large social situations. So the people who score high on the extroversion and openness are more likely to participate in the adventure and the risky sports due to their curiosity and the excitement seeking nature. So when we talked about the big five model, the extroversion is the trait which you can say encapsulate your exposure toward the external world, that how much you are exposed to the social world, how would you react toward the social world. If you are talkative, you will be very comfortable with the external world, and if you are the introvert, you will be very uncomfortable in the external world. Then comes the agreeable. Obviously, agreeableness actually, you can say, explain or bias your tendency to be compassionate and the cooperative rather than being aggressive one, or you can say antagonistic. That you agree, it is sort of the yes boss personality. That you are very cooperative. You want to avoid conflict. You want to have less tension in your life. So it actually, you can say, this trait actually, or you can say, okay, measures you of a person's trusting and the helpful nature, and whether the person is generally well tempered or not. So again, there is a score. The people who score low on agreeableness tends to be described as rude or uncooperative. Remember, in a big five personality, We actually score ourselves from 1 to 10. Being from 1 to 5 means you are less agreeable person. From 5 to 10 you mean you are the high agreeable person. So high agreeable person are the persons who are the more cooperative, who are more trustworthy people, and the person who score low on the agreeable person are those people who are, you can say, very aggressive. These are the very rude kind of people, these are the very uncooperative kind of people. So they are the two extreme. One is the kind, helpful, trusting, and the soft hearted, and the other one is the rude, uncooperative, suspicious, and the ruthless. These are the low score on agreeableness, these are the high score on the agreeableness. Then comes the neuroticism, that is the end of the ocean. This degree is actually, you can say that this is the characteristic that actually represent your emotional stability. Sometimes in a book you will find out that the in a different books you will find the neuroticism as emotional stability. So remember the neuroticism as emotional stability. So here again exists the true extremes. The high neuroticism is characterized by, you can say, the tendencies to experience unpleasant emotions such as anger, anxiety, depression, vulnerability. So it is actually represent your emotional stability and your control. The people who are high, who score high in the neuroticism, experience more emotional instability. I am repeating, they are more emotionally unstable. Those who have high score in emotional stability, they experience emotional instability, or they are characterized by a depressive person. They are being vulnerable to the stress. They are very, you can say, burnout people, or you can say the crying people that who always cry over the different situations. Oppositely, if we talk about the people who have low score on the emotional stability, these are the people who have, you can say, very calm, even tempered. They are very self-satisfied. They are very emotionally stable persons. So if we talk about the emotional stability, or if we talk about the emotional neuroticism, there are the two things. First one is the people who score high are the anxious, insecure, or the self-pitying person that always think of that there is something that is causing them a stress. And the opposite is the personality that is the very calm, secure, self-satisfied personality. So if I conclude the big five personality traits, it is important to keep in mind that each of these five different factors, that is extrovert, introvert, openness, consciousness, or the neuroticism, these all five factors represent the possible personality types. For example, an individual is typically somewhere in between the two extremes of the extroverted or the introverted. It doesn't mean that you will be, you might be only introvert or you might be extrovert. Obviously there is, we use the term that is called ambivalent. So you can might fall between the extroverted and the introverted. So you sometimes, or you can even lie between the between the center of the each dimension. So it is important. And another thing that is important to know, that the big five personality traits are the relatively stable over the specific period of time, and there are some tendencies or the traits that increase or the decrease slightly. So if you talk about the consciousness, it will be remain from, if you are consciousness, you will be remain consciousness, that your consciousness will be remain till the middle age. Clear? Clear? So here I am actually concluding the, you can say, here I am actually concluding the trait perspective of personality. In the what we were discussing about the trait personality theory, that in a trait personality theory, according to the trait theories, that our personality is actually based on the certain traits of the personality, that there are the certain traits, relatively certain traits that actually help us, our personality. But obviously each theory has the another pros and the cons. The limitation of the trade theory, if we talk I talked about the limitation of the trade theory. The trade theory is actually sometimes criticized by their predictive value. For example, they actually give a very, you can say, the contribution. They give the whole personality uh, contributions, or you can say it actually give the complete, uh, uh, you can say the complete dominancy to the traits theory. But as we discuss in the behaviorism, sometimes there are the situational factors that are more influencing than our behavior. Sometimes we are introvert, but might be due to the company we have, due to the environment we have, we become introvert. Might be we are very open to the experiences, might be we are very open to the adventure, but sometimes due to this certain environmental constraint, we become less open. So you can't say that the all the your personality is actually the cause of the or the result of your traits. There are the certain situational factors that are more influential in determining your behavior than your traits are. So this is what we call criticism on the trait perspective. So I'm going to conclude today's lecture. In the today's lecture, we talked about the trait theory. What is trait theory? Trait theory actually say that your behavior is based upon your behaviors are based upon the theories are the based upon your traits. And in the trait theory, we talked about the two major type of the trait theories. One is the Golden Alport trait theory, in which we talked about the three type of the traits. One is the cardinal trait, other one is the you can say central trait, and the third one is the secondary trait. So the cardinal traits are the traits which are very rare and that is dominating in your personality. Central traits are the combination of the traits, and the secondary traits are your attitude or your preferences toward the certain situations, like your preference to the food, your preference to the situation, your preference to the music, etc. Then comes the ocean or the big five model. In the big five model, according to the big five model, there are the number of human personality traits that can be reduced to the five factors, or that can be reduced to the you can say five major components, that which we call ocean trait. That is, the ocean stands for the O for openness to the experience, C stands for the consciousness, E stands for the extroversion, A stands for agreeableness, or N stands for the neuroticism. Obviously, it has a very important role in determining your personality, but there are the different criticism that this five factor model is very limited in his its scope, and it is not you can say the three driven, or it is there are the different point of measuring, and there is are the issues of the points. I hope I hope that you understood the today's lecture. Inshallah, in a coming lecture, we will talk about the social learning theory. At the end of this lecture, with this lecture, I will post a questionnaire in which you will perform. You need to perform that particular questionnaire so that you can identify your own personality based on the big five personality trait. And I will post a YouTube video related to the ocean strategy. I hope that you will see you will watch this video and you will conduct that test, and in our next interactive session we will going to discuss over that particular video and the questionnaire you solved. Thank you so much, class, for coming and listening. Take care. Allah Hafiz.